Hey everybody, this is Jack Music, greeting you with lots of love, joy, peace, and aloha. Big Island Kobudo, like, subscribe, notification bell, share, comment, all that jazz. So, in this video today, I am going to show you how to make the absolute best food for your worms. They will love this, they will eat this up very quickly, and it'll make food very easy for them to digest. A lot of times with worm bins, people might just throw their compost in, big scraps of food like avocado shells or pieces of vegetables or fruit that they've cut away. But you can imagine, like, let's say you were a person and you were going to eat a steak, but then someone gave you, or if you don't want to eat a steak, let's say a carrot. But if someone gave you a carrot or a steak that was the size of a room, that was the size of a house, it would kind of be hard to eat it. You would just look at it and you'd be like, what am I supposed to do with this? Well, same thing with worms. If you give them a lot of food at the same time, it takes a long time for that to break down to a way that they are going to want to eat it. But with this method of feeding worms, they can eat the food right away. So what you do is you start out with shredded paper. And let's see what we've got here. This, you can see just regular shredded paper that comes from a paper shredder. And you can also use newspaper. So if I'm going to use newspaper, I like to just tear it down the seam, and then it'll tear quite nicely. And then if I feel like it, I might go ahead and tear those into half as well. And then the next step that you would do is you can, if you have an old blender, you can put your compost into a blender and blend it up really well. And then you mix it with your paper. So let's see, this one is also paper. As you can see here, I've got some cat litter containers, and this is just a bucket from Home Depot, or the Home Depot if you prefer. And then you mix your compost with your paper. So you can see some rice I threw on the top of this. These have all been aging pretty well. I recommend that you experiment with yourself. When I first started doing this a few years ago, I found that if I aged it a couple weeks, the worms just really loved it. And this one is has got a little bit of moisture at the bottom, but it's nice and wet, and they will like that. And this one's really wet, so I'd probably throw some more paper into that so that it can soak up some more of the moisture. And then you just give that right to your worms, and then they are really, really going to love that. It's nice and wet, they can chew it up. There was a study done quite a few years ago, and they discovered that worms could actually survive on nothing but wet newspaper. They fed the worms wet newspaper and they were good to go. But the worms, when you put in some food, it makes it really tasty for them, and they really like it. And like this is some carrot juice I made over a week ago. It's been in the fridge, so it'd probably still be quite tasty. But I'm going to go ahead and pour this into some of these and give this to the worms. And, well, let's just go ahead and take a look here before I let you go. So, yeah, let's see how this works out. So this is an old worm bin that I have had, and let's see what... I know there's going to be some really good worms in here, and we'll make another worm video after this. And then I'm going to show you, before I let you go, how much the worms love this. So hopefully this will stay kind of focused. And see, look, I just peel off that first layer. Here's a nice little worm. And then if we go down a little bit, there's a whole apple I threw in just out of curiosity. Maybe you'll see that worm there. Wanted to see how long it would take them to get to it. There's a big one. And yeah, I'm not looking at the camera, so I don't know how quick this will get in there. And see, there we've got some good worm action. And they really don't need a lot of this to survive. They are gonna, this worm bin, see, look at that. Let's see if that's getting on there. Oh no. Well, maybe we'll do this handheld. We'll do it live. F it, we'll do it live. Let's zoom out again. So this worm bin I had started a few years ago. I hadn't given it any food for a couple years because it was at my parents' house in their basement. But the worms were surviving. And then a couple weeks ago, I just gave them a little bit of this. They've already digested it mostly, and but they are quite happy. And then they can go and they can swim around in this and in the muck, and then they can come back and eat this. And I'm going to give them a little bit more here, and I'll make another video coming up next that will show how to revitalize a worm bin. And yeah, and then I think the video after that, I'll show you how to make what I call worm juice, which is a nice little tonic for your garden and your plants and that sort of thing. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. My name is Jack Music, wishing you lots of love, joy, peace, and blessings.